Before they stepped onto this bus, the lives led by these young men and women from different backgrounds may have had little in common. They are now leaving those lives behind for a common goal: to earn the title of United States Marine. It starts when a drill instructor steps onto the bus to welcome them to Parris Island.
Pick your hands up and look at me right now. Scream, "Aye, sir!" No, scream louder than that. From this point forward, every time I open my face, you will respond back. Do you understand? Aye, sir! Scream louder. Aye, sir! Now, when I tell you to, you're gonna get all your crap. Get up and get off my bus. Get on my yellow footprints. 4 recruits side by side. Do you understand? Aye, sir! That's not screaming. Aye, sir! Aye, sir! Get up. Aye, sir! Okay, sit down. Aye, sir! Scream louder than that. Aye, sir! Get up. Aye, sir! Get off my bus. Aye, sir!
They soon realize that their lives are about to change forever. Every enlisted member of the world's finest fighting force begins their transformation on the same iconic yellow footprints. Not everyone standing here will earn the title of U.S. Marine.
The Marine Corps' success depends on teamwork. Therefore, teamwork is an essential part of your training here at Parris Island. From now on, you will train as a team. You will eat, live, sleep, and train as a team. The word "I" is no longer part of your vocabulary. Do we understand? Yes, sir!
To do so, they must pass through the most demanding recruit training in the world. Not everyone is cut out for it. Over the next 12 weeks, they will be tested more than they could have ever imagined, physically, mentally, and emotionally. The training is intense and uncompromising, but they will find parts of themselves they never knew were there. They will be broken down and rebuilt from the ground up as a disciplined, motivated, and dedicated warrior for their nation. They will be United States Marines. Within minutes of their arrival on Parris Island,
What do you have?
Literature, sir.
Bring it up here. Say "Aye, sir!"
Aye, sir.
the new recruits surrender the last physical remainders of their past identity as a civilian, such as candy, snacks, cigarettes, and for the men, their hair.
Look, take the tension off your neck and relax.
Welcome to the receiving phase. The receiving phase is made as confusing and disorienting for the recruits as possible, to help distance the recruits from civilian habits and to prepare them for Marine Corps discipline.
The initial meet and greet, or when the drill instructors are introduced to their recruits, is basically a culture shock to basically have them in the mindset of what they're going to be doing here in recruit training. The recruit training is 70 training days, and there will be transitioning into those training days as Marine Corps recruits.
The Marine Corps' success depends upon teamwork. Therefore, teamwork is an essential part of training on Parris Island. It is to replace the thought of self with the thought of the team. Before training can start, each male recruit must be able to do a minimum of 2 pull-ups, and female recruits must be able to do a flexed arm hang for 12 seconds. Both are required to do 44 crunches in 2 minutes and run 1.5 miles in under 13 minutes and 30 seconds for the men, and the females have 15 minutes to cross the finish line. Recruits are advised to report to training with the ability to run much further distances at a faster pace, as the IST run is only half the distance of the 3-mile physical fitness test required of all recruits. After passing their initial strength test, Marine Corps recruit training begins with a moment these recruits will never forget. It's time to meet their drill instructors. They are the backbone of the Marine Corps, demanding perfectionists who monopolize every waking hour of the recruits' lives. Every second of every day will be spent with these drill instructors, who will mold them into Marines. They will instill in them, through their own example, the utmost levels of professionalism, teamwork, discipline, and confidence. They really do make Marines.
Get back!
The next 3 to 5 days is the period known as forming. It is nothing short of learning a new language, a new culture, a fast-paced way of life that starts with the willing obedience of every order. Recruits learn a complete new way of speaking and use language and terminology they will use throughout their entire time in the Marine Corps. The drill instructors physically, psychologically, and mentally challenge the recruits, including yelling at maximum volume and intimidation to simulate the stress of the battlefield and to elicit immediate compliance to instructions. Marine Corps recruit training is broken down into 3 basic phases. Phase 1 lasts approximately 4 weeks. Here, discipline will begin to be instilled in recruits by disorienting them and breaking them from old civilian habits and mindsets. Drill instructors begin reinforcing the mental and physical standards needed to perform under stressful situations that could be experienced in combat. The purpose of Phase 1 is to mentally and physically challenge the recruits. At this point, civilian habits are completely detrimental to training, so they are eliminated during this period through intense physical training, strict routines, discipline, and intense instruction.
It is not a debate. It is not a debate.
The process is designed to enable recruits to learn to survive in combat situations and to adapt and overcome any unexpected situation. One of the principal ideals learned during this period is that recruits are not to think of themselves as individuals. They are not permitted to use the first-person pronoun, I. Instead, recruits refer to themselves as this recruit, and all tasks are designed with teamwork in mind. Recruits are expected to conform to a standard that does not tolerate personal eccentricities. It is a fast-paced, intense period in the transformation of civilian to Marine. Close order drill is an important factor in recruit training and begins from their first formation on the yellow footprints. In the first phase, they learn all of the basic commands and movements, memorizing the timing through the use of cadence that helps synchronize a recruit's movements with the rest of his or her platoon. During Phase 1, recruits learn that their civilian bodies aren't good enough. Phase 1 training focuses on turning their civilian bodies into the bodies of Marines. This is done through a rigorous routine of endurance and resistance exercises. Running will build their cardiovascular endurance, and events like the circuit course will build muscle strength and stamina to forge them into the best shape of their lives. They are going to need it for the trials they face ahead. Recruits quickly learn that the Marine Corps demands the maximum effort in everything they do, and in case they ever forget, they receive attitude adjustments through IT, incentive training. Pugil Sticks 1 introduces the recruit's first real chance to show some aggression. Pugil sticks are heavily padded poles recruits spar with to simulate rifle and bayonet combat. These weapons are an effective and safe way for recruits to develop the intensity, confidence, and combat techniques of a Marine. They will learn how to outmaneuver and overpower an opponent. For most recruits, Pugil Sticks training is the first physical combat they have ever experienced. Driven by the philosophy of one mind, any weapon, the Marine Corps Martial Arts Program, MCMAP, combines some of the most effective unarmed techniques from various martial arts with armed techniques designed for combat. During their time in the Corps, Marines can advance through 5 colored belt levels. MCMAP stresses physical, mental, and character disciplines. Marines study martial arts culture and history to hone their minds. They maintain optimal fitness through extensive combat conditioning and practice of new skills. More importantly, MCMAP reinforces the moral values Marines count on to execute their battlefield objectives as ethical warriors. During Week 3, recruits are introduced to the Confidence Course. During the 2 rounds of the Confidence Course, recruits will face 11 unique challenges, each more demanding than the one before. Recruits will first complete the course individually, and then in 4-man fire teams, adding teamwork to the physical challenge. The course increases recruits' physical strength, and as the name implies, confidence. Week 3 concludes when the recruits receive their first inspection by their senior drill instructor.
For the senior drill instructor inspection, the thing that I like to see the most from recruits is them to have confidence and bearing when somebody's standing in front of them.
Here, they will be tested on their training and academics to see how they respond under the pressure of an inspection. They will face many more of them throughout their time in the Marine Corps.
Okay, it's gonna work.
There's a lot more to being a Marine than being a fierce warrior. The Marine Corps provides a strong emphasis on morals and integrity. Once a week, a core values class is given by the senior drill instructor. Week 4 brings basic water survival training, also known as swim qual.
The most common difficulty that we see here at the combat training tank is the recruits actually swimming with the gear that we provide for them. The recruits have a previous history of swimming, but when they put on all the gear, it's a little harder for them to cope.
By definition, the Marine Corps is an amphibious assault force. Therefore, all Marine recruits are required to know how to survive in the water. Recruits receive basic water survival training at the indoor pool, which is safely conducted by specially trained instructors. Training in combat water survival develops a recruit's confidence in the water. All recruits train in the camouflage utility uniform, but those upgrading may be required to train in full combat gear, which includes a rifle, helmet, flak jacket, and pack. Recruits who have trouble in the water are given to a special group of drill instructors to help reinforce the basics, because it's pretty simple. If they don't swim, they don't become a Marine. The gas chamber is actually the chemical, biological, radiological, and nuclear CBRN confidence chamber.
Now, the purpose of the gas chamber is so that the recruits become familiar with their M50 gas mask.
Blow on it, blow on it. Look, hey, look at just like it. Put it on and just blow.
So that way, when they get out to the fleet, they already have familiarization with it and they know how to properly use their mask.
The recruits learn about the M50 field protective mask, or gas mask. This exercise exposes the recruits to a simulated toxic environment by using CS gas, also known as tear gas. It is non-lethal and builds the recruits' confidence in their gear, with the understanding that the masks can save their lives. This experience gives them confidence as they now understand some of the basic protective measures that must be taken against chemical weapons or hazards. It further reinforces the understanding that Marines are a force in readiness, regardless of the circumstance.
Shoot your arm out. Do we understand?
So the 3 o'clock.
3 o'clock. Do we understand?
Yes, sir.
Go.
Aye, sir.
Go. Jump back and go.
Aye, sir.
I do see them struggle, but initially when they're getting through their C classes and their period of instructions, but when the drill instructors and the black shirts start doing the examples, they rappel several times both off the wall and the helo, then they kind of get that desire to want to do it, and they kind of lose that fear and become more confident. And later on through training, it just shows.
Recruits learn rappelling, a controlled slide down a rope that prepares Marines for deployment from helicopters, for navigating difficult terrain, and for gaining access to buildings during raids. From the rappel tower, recruits learn the proper way to brake, regulate speed, and land safely. Rappelling teaches recruits technique as well as confidence and courage in a supervised environment.
You shoot it out to your side. That's how you don't friggin' fall down, Crawford. Go that way.
The first inter-platoon contest, held in the first week of the second phase, is termed Initial Drill, where the platoon and junior-most drill instructor are graded as a whole on their performance in close order drill.
Right to the right. Right here, right here.
Every Marine a rifleman is a mantra that is central to the Marine Corps culture. Marines are united by the shared experience of the training they all endure, which is aimed at achieving proficiency as war fighters first. Everything else is secondary. This is another testament to the exceptionality of the Marine Corps, that all Marines are held to the highest of standards. This is Grass Week. The recruits spend time practicing their firing positions, also called snapping in. During Grass Week, a strong emphasis is placed upon firing positions, firing procedures, and safety requirements. It's firing week. The recruits are awakened early in the morning to prepare the rifle range for firing. Half of the platoons will fire at 200, 300, and 500 yards in the standing, sitting, kneeling, and prone positions. The other half will mark targets in the pits. Friday of that week is qualification day, where recruits must qualify with a minimum score in order to earn a marksmanship badge and continue training. The Marines are the only branch of the United States Armed Forces that require the 500-yard line qualification. After the rifle range, recruits are assigned to a week of maintenance duties known as Team Week. During this week, recruits will be able to revisit previous instruction and retake tests. Recruits that need to have medical or dental needs addressed, such as the extraction of wisdom teeth, have those procedures done here so that recovery time impacts training as little as possible. Phase 3 is essentially the polishing of the recruits, where their skills and knowledge are honed and tested. Phase 3 begins with Table 2 firing, where recruits learn to fire their rifle under more realistic combat conditions, such as unknown distances, at night, and wearing a gas mask. During Basic Warrior Training, or BWT, recruits learn the fundamentals of combat. They sleep in the field and eat MREs. Skills taught include camouflage, low crawling, land navigation, basic squad tactics, rappelling, and other foundations of military skills. Training Day 63, the Crucible. The recruits are awakened at 2 a.m. to prepare for their hike to the Crucible. They are only 54 hours away from becoming Marines, but they will be the most difficult 54 hours of their lives. The Crucible is the defining moment of recruit training. For most, the Crucible will be the first time they reach the limits of their mental, physical, and emotional endurance. They will know that they are capable of much more than they previously believed. The young men and women leaving for the Crucible exit the squad bay for the last time as recruits. They will return as United States Marines. The Crucible is 54 hours of intense, physically demanding training under conditions of sleep and food deprivation. During this time, recruits will be forged in the furnace of shared hardship and tough training that is the time-tried and battle-proven trademark of Marine Corps recruit training. There will be night forced marches, a tough night infiltration movement, a combat resupply event, a casualty evacuation drill, and combat field firing. Here, you can see the recruits going through a combat course with multiple obstacles and situations they could run into on the battlefield. They play the sounds of machine gun fire and explosions to simulate the combat environment. Pugil Sticks 4. Here, the bouts will start with the recruits entering simulated trenches that lead into an enclosed area that represents a machine gun nest. The bouts are controlled by a martial arts instructor that starts and stops the bouts. Each bout is stopped after a set amount of time, or when a properly executed technique is delivered to an opponent.
Get him, swing, fight back! Let go of him and fight! How much do you weigh?
165, sir.
Stand behind him!
Recruits will encounter unique obstacles, each bearing the name of a heroic Marine from the Corps' illustrious history, which can only be negotiated with teamwork. Once each obstacle is overcome, the drill instructor mentors the recruits, critiques their efforts, and retells the story of the Marine for whom the obstacle was named, bringing to light how that individual exemplified the Marine Corps' core values.
Conspicuous gallantry and intrepidity in action against the enemy while serving as Weapons Platoon Sergeant, Company C, 1st Battalion, 2nd Marines, Regimental Combat Team 2. On 23 March, Gunnery Sergeant Jordan's platoon was tasked to conduct the attack north through the city on Nasiriyah to secure a critical bridgehead on the north side of the city.
Honor, courage, commitment. The Crucible is the culminating event in recruit training. order to become a Marine, all recruits must complete and pass the entire evaluation. Capping the already tough challenges of the previous 2 days is a 9-mile march with full packs and all of their personal equipment. It is the final event designed to see who has what it takes. At the end of the march, the recruits participate in the emblem ceremony. This is the moment when the legacy is handed down. They earn the title Marine, and the newest Marines are presented with the Marine Corps emblem, the eagle, globe, and anchor by their drill instructors.
Congratulations, Bossford.
Thank you, sir.
It's all right to cry.
Bye, sir.
The eagle, globe, and anchor is what sets Marines apart from other branches of service who delineate themselves by occupational specialty or demonstrate allegiance to a specific unit through the wearing of a patch or symbol. The only symbol Marines recognize is the eagle, globe, and anchor. Receiving the emblem signifies that the recruits have earned the title of United States Marine. They will now stand with their instructors as the nation's newest Marines.
Marines, welcome to our Corps. You are truly one of the few and the proud.
Do solemnly swear that I will support and defend the Constitution of the United States.
The Constitution of the United States.
Against all enemies.
Against all enemies.
Foreign and domestic.
Foreign and domestic.
That I will bear true faith.
That I will bear true faith.
And allegiance to the same.
And allegiance to the same.
That I will obey the orders.
That I will obey the orders.
Of the President of the United States.
Of the President of the United States.
And the orders.
And the orders.
Of the officers appointed over me.
Of the officers appointed over me.
According to regulations.
According to regulations.
And Uniform Code of Military Justice.
And Uniform Code of Military Justice.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Training Day 69. Excited families line the streets and try to catch a glimpse of their Marine running by in formation. Family Day starts off with a motivational run, referred to as the Moat Run, throughout the depot. All graduating Marines run in formation while singing motivational cadence, loudly signaling successful completion of recruit training. As recruits run to the cadence of their drill instructors, parents, family members, and friends line the streets and cheer as they try to find the face of their loved one among the crowd of new Marines. After the Moat Run, the new Marines have a chance to see family and friends for the first time during On-Base Liberty. Graduation is conducted Friday in a formal ceremony and parade attended by family and friends.